This is Jaguars Happy Hour. Jaguars Happy Hour is brought to you by the St. Johns River Water Management District. And now, Duval County's 2023 Sports Broadcaster of the Year. The Duval County 2023 Sports Broadcaster of the Year is not an actual award, was totally made up, and has no intrinsic value. J.P. Shadrick.
And welcome in. It is Jaguars Happy Hour from the Hyundai Studios inside the Miller Electric Center in downtown Jacksonville. J.P. Shadrick, Jeff Lageman. Busy show, busy 2 hours ahead as we begin training camp. It's the first Jaguars Happy Hour radio program and digital program of the season. Glad you're with us today. Jaguars training camp is underway. Here's what's coming up on the show. We'll discuss Trevor Lawrence and the Jaguars offense. Of course, Calvin Ridley's impact felt on the first day of camp. Some drops from receivers today. We'll get to that coming up. Josh Allen and the defense. And, of course, the Doug Pederson Show coming up at 5 o'clock. We'll hear from head coach Doug Pederson here in the Hyundai Studios for the first time. And I had a chance to catch up with Christian Kirk, Jaguars wide receiver. We'll hear that conversation. That's at 5 o'clock on the Jaguars Radio Network. Jeff Lageman, Jaguars analyst, joining us now in the palatial Hyundai Studios. Yeah, Good afternoon.
Pretty nice place here now.
Yeah, I'd say, right?
Yeah.
It's massive.
Yeah, we got new digs, and we're in the new Miller Electric Center, or some people call it the MEC.
That's, yeah.
Right.
Those are initials.
Yeah, acronym. Okay.
An acronym.
Yeah,
Big word for
proper.
you.
Yeah. But it's great. The studio here is great. Looking forward to having Doug in here for a little bit. And the great thing also, JP, is that we're a little bit closer together.
Oh, that's
It's always good to be close to you.
Yeah, that's great. I don't know about that, Logs. Wow. Eye roll for sure on that one. Jaguars Happy Hour is brought to you by the St. Johns River Water Management District. Florida's water, it's worth saving. We're on 1010XL AM, Jaguars.com, Jaguars social media, Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. And on Twitter at JP Shadrick, at Logs56, because you're a huge social media maven.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm real big into that.
So hit us up on there. We'll be here for the next couple of hours. Of course, the Jaguars made an epic run in the stretch run and a wild playoff comeback last season, but fell short in the divisional round in Kansas City. Well, we know this, Logs. For quarterback Trevor Lawrence, motivation is never an issue anyway. Self-motivated, all of that. But head coach Doug Pederson, in his first address to the media of this training camp, said he's seen even more focus from number 16.
His motivation hasn't changed. It's probably enhanced a little bit more. You know, I think the guys understand that they can be a good football team. He understands that this can be a good football team. And we just got to focus on that, right? Focus on us and continue the process and continue the hard work. But he's in a really good place. You know, kind of to your point with the offense and stuff, we do lean on him. We do ask, him what he likes and doesn't like, and try to refine it to the things that the players like, and that's a sign of, I think the confidence that they have in us and we have in them, that we can have these communications and conversations.
Of course, that's head coach Doug Pederson. And, yes, it's year 3 for Trevor, year 2 in this system. The baseline offense is in. They can just build from their, Logs.
Yeah, I had a conversation with Press Taylor in the OTAs about that very topic and about where you can go with the offense in year 2. And he just said it's amazing how many things that we didn't do last year just because we did want to add too much to the plate, so to speak, of all the players in the offense. And he goes, and especially when you have a young quarterback, he said, though, but now that you're in year 2 in the system, he said, there's a lot of situations to where you can allow that quarterback to change plays or get into better formations to have that flexibility to put you in the best position that you possibly can be in. And people are trying to think of something that could be maybe draw a parallel to. Think of Peyton Manning, okay, and what he was able to do at the line of scrimmage. Now, I don't think it's going to be maybe to that extent because Peyton had been around for a long time there at the end where we would watch him do whatever he wanted to do. But things like that to where Trevor can have the ability to change plays and then also maybe adjust routes on the fly, which last year he had no ability to do.
Very little. I think towards the end of the season, you might have seen a little more of that. He grew into it as the season went along. And the receiving core has a lot to do with that, too. Do they have above-the-shoulders ability to be able to flip routes without moving and know everything in the offense? And that was a big key to the success, certainly in December.
And also I think that a lot of times it's not a matter of Trevor having the language to be able to change a play. Sometimes things are changed with just a little wink and a nod, a little bit of body language. And so there's also familiarity with the players amongst themselves on top of the familiarity with the system that will allow them to take this offense to another level. And I really believe that this offense can go to another level for a lot of reasons. Number one, it's year two of the system, and then also the quality of the players. I think they're taking a huge step up. They've added some pieces to this offense that's going to provide not only frontline help, but then also the depth that is necessary to be able to maintain a certain level of performance throughout a season. The rookie class so far looks good in a limited opportunity that we've been able to see them. And the veterans, like you talked about, the impact that Calvin Ridley has had almost felt immediately. I mean, that's real. I mean, that's something that you can feel, and it's exciting to have components that may be able to step in and contribute right away.
And a lot of it, too, Logs, is that, I mean, some of these guys obviously have been in the weight room in the offseason.
Well, and the guy that really stood out to me from that aspect was Trevor himself. And I talked with him yesterday after practice, the first practice, and I said, man, you look bigger. And he said that last year he finished up the year about 217.
And he's 6'6".
Right. And he's every bit of 6'6".
Yes.
Okay. And I said, well, where are you at now? He said, he goes, I'm right around 225. And that's, that's great. I mean, for a quarterback, and you want to be able to have your quarterbacks to be able to withstand a full season, maybe a little, I'm not saying an extra bulk, but a little extra cushion, a little bit of extra oomph for them to be able to have the durability to go through a season. And, JP, I don't know if you had the opportunity. Did you have the opportunity to watch that quarterback series on Netflix?
I have not seen it yet, no.
I highly recommend it to anybody who is a fan of football. And Peyton Manning was the executive producer, and they follow three quarterbacks through the season. And last year they followed Marcus Mariota of the Atlanta Falcons,
Mahomes,
Patrick Mahomes of the Kansas City Chiefs, and then Kurt from the Minnesota Vikings.
Oh, Cousins.
Kirk Cousins. They followed those three guys through the season and really kind of showed what they go through on a day-to-day basis and a little glimpse into the life of what it's like to play quarterback from a personal standpoint, but then also a professional standpoint. Man, this is must-see TV to me, just because I've always said this, that the quarterback position is the hardest position to play in all of sports. And so when you get one, it makes you so grateful and appreciative of having a franchise quarterback, and that's what Trevor is, and I can't wait for year two. But again, recommend that series.
So are you trying to talk him into doing the show or something? Is that why?
No. Look,
I thought that was part of your conversation.
No,
Trevor, I don't talk Marissa into it. That'd be great. That'd be part of it.
I think it would be awesome. I mean, and then obviously a lot of Jaguar fans would love to be able to take a glimpse into the life of a Trevor Lawrence and what it's like to play quarterback for the Jacksonville Jaguars. I haven't heard any reports on who the topics would be in 2023. But maybe they're going to keep that quiet, but it would be exciting to watch it again. I can tell you that I thoroughly enjoyed it. I was never a big fan of Kirk Cousins until I watched the series. And then I gained an appreciation for him as a player. And because he's always been kind of one of those middle of the road quarterbacks that kind of gives you teases and glimpses of he could maybe take you a little bit farther. And I always kind of slighted him a little bit because he wasn't able to take his football team to that next level yet. But I definitely gained a higher level of appreciation for him after watching that.
Jags fans want customized Jaguars furniture for your home? Check out zipchair.com and browse all customizable options. Zipchair, furniture for fans. This is Jaguars Happy Hour on 1010XL, Jaguars.com, Jaguars social media, Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. Let's touch on some of the weapons around said quarterback, Trevor Lawrence. Of course, Evan Ingram signed his deal, tight end. Christian Kirk, Zay Jones are back in the fold and looking strong so far, and we've mentioned it already. Calvin Ridley showed off in the first practice Wednesday. That stop-start ability, his just pure speed, the hands, the catch radius, everything you wanted.
I think you got to start with one thing with him. work ethic. Because when you watch him work, JP, he reminds me very much of Zay Jones and Christian Kirk. And here's a guy that's going to fit right in because he has that same desire for greatness, and he puts in the time and the hard work. And that's important because, when you have a new guy and you add this guy to your culture, you want to make sure that he's going to fit. And he's not going to be this – prima donna or diva wide receiver. And that's not what he is now. I mean, he's been impressive in the short amount of time that we've had a look in OTAs and then also the start of training camp. He's been impressive, and that's what I was really looking to see, and I've been thoroughly impressed.
Trevor Lawrence, after practice Wednesday on what number 0 has to offer?
The way he runs, there's not many guys like that, especially in and out of his breaks, and he's just really crafty. Obviously, great ball skills, and then just you haven't even seen it yet because we're not in pads and we're not full contact. But I think after the catch, he's really, really good too. So, and in spring we were still kind of working him in, so we didn't get a ton of reps. So now that we're in camp, we're full go. I'm excited just to continue to build on that. He's going to fit in really well with that group, with Zay and Ag and Christian and Evan and all the other receivers. He's going to fit in great.
Well, I think he spoke with some of the media after practice today, so you'll see some quotes coming out from Calvin Ridley. But obviously we know his track record so far in the NFL. Just a few years in, played 5 games 2 years ago, missed all of last season. So you said it, Logs, the work ethic is there to prove to everybody that he's a top-level, top-flight NFL receiver. He's shown it with a broken foot before already, he said. He's healthy now. He's motivated more than ever, and all that should combine, at least hopefully, to a big start of the season.
Yeah, and talking to him yesterday, and you're standing next to him, he's not real big. And I think that's the one thing that stands out a little bit is that he's not real big, and he's a little bit taller than Christian Kirk, but he doesn't have that bulk that Christian has.
He's listed at 6'1", 190.
Yeah, but he looks slighter than that.
Yes.
If he's 6'1", 190, then I mean he's tough as nails to get to that weight. The one thing I'm excited about with the addition of him to this football team, because, first of all, his talent has shown through. And, look, it's a long road, and so you still want to see a lot more out of him. But what I love about Calvin is the work ethic, but also what he's going to be able to do to this offense to help others. Okay, for example, now that you're going to have Calvin Ridley, Christian Kirk, Zay Jones, that's 3 incredible weapons. But what that's going to do to the dynamic of the offense, it's going to allow one thing, which is important. You're going to stretch the field, and it's going to create space for everybody else just because he has vertical speed and he has a vertical threat ability. But Christian Kirk can now play in the most comfortable position where he is the most effective at, and that's the slot. And that's where Christian can make hay and make people pay. And so I'm excited about that. And then with Zay on the outside, and then, let me add another name to it, Tim Jones. I think Tim Jones is going to be a guy that, look, if there's injury at any point of the season with some of these guys, I think he's a guy that's going to be able to not only give you a lot of help on special teams from that wide receiver position, but if you have a man down for a week, okay, one guy goes down, which happens, he's going to have the ability to step up. And I see an increased role for him this year.
Tim
in that
Jones,
capacity.
Second-year player out of southern Mississippi. His hometown is Biloxi, I believe, and he's 6'1", 200 pounds. And, we've seen him running around with some of those perceived first-team receivers already, which is a good thing. And, the special teams obviously will be key because there aren't many spots in the wide receiver room, at least for the 5 or 6.
No, look, you're going to have a uphill battle to gain a roster spot. We'll say that also the young rookie Parker Washington from Penn State has looked good so far in camp, and he's
why so?
He's built like a running back. Literally, and his height, weight, 5'10", 212. Okay, that's what they have him officially listed as. And when he was at Penn State, he was kind of one of those slot receivers, and they threw him the ball a ton with a short distance throw, and then allowed him to do things after the catch and, quick screens and things of that nature. And he's a guy that I think also down the road can give this football team some productive reps in that slot position, but he's not nearly as dynamic as a Christian Kirk. Christian Kirk has a very special ability to gain separation because of his quickness, the way he comes in and out of breaks, and because he's crafty, and he has top-end speed. So that's just some things there to think about. It's a position that if you're a young player, undrafted player, for example, Jeray Jenkins or Oliver Martin, a couple players, one from LSU, one from Nebraska, you're going to have a tough way to make in this football team, and practice squad may be your best bet.
Jaguars Happy Hour is brought to you by the St. Johns River Water Management District. Florida's water, it's worth saving. And when we return, cornerbacks and defense. Tyson Campbell entering year number 3, how he can continue to grow as an elite cornerback, and how do the Jaguars get more pass rush? What did they figure out in the offseason? That's all coming up as Jaguars Happy Hour.
Have you noticed? It's raining a lot in our area lately. That means you can give your sprinklers a break and save some money in the process. Lawns only need water up to twice a week, and that can come from rain. So before you run your sprinklers, remember to watch the weather and wait to water. For more information, visit waterlessflorida.com.
Jaguars fans, huddle up for the best defense against expensive car repairs, CarShield. Score big with the nation's #1 automotive protection company, CarShield. They offer affordable plans that cover over 6,000 parts and systems in your car, truck, or SUV. Don't miss any Jaguars action this season with a car breakdown. Call the MVPs at CarShield for their best coverage ever. Call 800-471-1223. 800-471-1223. Go Jags!
A solid plan. It's the first step to accomplishing any goal. There's no limit to what's possible when you have the right team by your side. So start building your legacy today. Take advantage of high-yield saving solutions with money market, online savings, CDs, and more. Visit TIAABank.com today. It's time for a plan. TIAA Bank, member FDIC, and the official bank of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Are you ready to elevate your tailgate experience, Jaguars fans? Citrus Distillers, a proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars, is excited to announce the 2023 Jaguars Limited Edition Whiskey Bottle. Now available at Total Wine and other participating retailers. Elevate your tailgate experience, Jaguars fans. The 2023 Jaguars Limited Edition Whiskey Bottle. Duval!
Don't get sacked by a no-name propane rookie this football season, Jacksonville. Draft an all-star and switch to AmeriGas, the official propane provider of the Jacksonville Jaguars and the homes and businesses who know it was always the Jags. Show off your Duval pride at your next tailgate with a Jaguars grill tank from AmeriGas. To find an AmeriGas exchange location near you or to order a propane fill-up for your home or business, visit AmeriGas.com/Jacksonville-Jaguars or call 844-PRO-JAGS. Jaguars fans, you have the opportunity to win a VIP experience at a Jaguars training camp practice, courtesy of Goodwill Industries of North Florida as part of their Pass It On for Goodwill donation program. To learn more, visit goodwilljacks.org or go to the Goodwill Jacksonville locations at 11160 Beach Boulevard or 9910 San Jose Boulevard for more information. That's goodwilljacks.org. All of your donations are invested back into education and employment opportunities for hundreds of individuals.
Water Management District, Florida's water, it's worth saving. And welcome back. JP Shadrick, Jeff Lageman. It's Jaguars Happy Hour on 1010XL AM, Jaguars.com, Jaguars social media, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube. We're on Twitter as well, at JP Shadrick, at Logs56. Well, Jaguars offense is, what do they say? Offense sells tickets, defense wins championships. At least they said that about 30 years ago.
Yeah.
It's
a little different now in the modern day NFL.
You still need defense, though, certainly. And the Jaguars' defense last year ranked, around 24th, 25th in total yardage in the league, but they were tied for 7th in takeaways. They were an opportunistic group last year. but they were maybe just a tick late overall in getting to the quarterback. So in this offseason logs, we've talked a lot about their self-scout from last year and what do you look at and, what personnel might you go out and get? Well, they didn't really go out and get much veteran personnel. They drafted some guys that they might be able to develop over time, but they've spent a lot of draft equity already on defense, first-round picks over the last few years, and they're counting on those guys to really step up and take a step this year on the defensive side of the ball. Overall, where is this defense? What do you think they might have found in the self-scout that they can adjust moving ahead?
Well, first of all, to go back to last year, and I think the saving grace was the takeaways. Because if all of a sudden you take that out of the equation, I think this defense really struggles. Yeah. I mean, struggles in a big way. And I think every team at the conclusion of a season does a real strong self-analysis. And I wasn't a part of that self-analysis, but I think one of the things that I felt was that they weren't allowing the guys up front to be in the best position to rush the passer, to impact the game and get off the field. And, you go to Mike Caldwell's opening press conference, he talked a lot about getting the players in the position to do things that they do best.
You're talking about his off-season program conference.
Exactly.
Yes. Okay, yeah, that's right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And
I think he speaks officially tomorrow for training camp.
Exactly. So, and what he means by that, I think, if I'm trying to interpret it, is that we need to put our players in the best position possible. Last year was a little bit of a feeling out process. I mean, when you have a first-time staff, a first-time coordinator, first-time exposure being around all these players, there's so much to learn. You're trying to learn to be a defensive coordinator. The players are trying to learn a scheme. The coaches are trying to learn what the players do best, and they're trying to put them in the best position possible. And so I thought last year was a little bit of a learning curve. And I think this year, you'll see much more strides being made on the defensive side of the ball because now you have some familiarity across the board. And last year they were trying to play quite a bit of man. Well, the reality is that they really don't have the personnel to play a lot of man, or they didn't last year. And I think this year will be a little bit of a question mark of whether they can do that again. I think they're going to have to be a little bit more like they were at the end of the year. They're going to have to play a little bit more zone. And I think they need to allow some of these guys that rush the passer to put their hand in the ground and go rush the passer.
For example?
Well, last year it felt like that they had guys in 2-point stances, okay? Josh Allen, Trayvon Walker. A lot of times we're rushing the passer on second and long and third down, and they're up in a 2-point stance like a stand-up linebacker. Well, look, you're not trying to fool anybody when they're in second and long and third and long. Give the player the best tool in his toolkit to be able to affect the quarterback. The best, most aggressive pass rush is one in which a player can have his hand in the ground. Otherwise, Olympic athletes would be going from a 2-point stance and sprint.
I guess so, sure.
Okay, so let the player have his hand down, 3-point stance, and go after the passer. And I think that you'll see more of that this year. And that's a great question for Doug Pederson. We'll ask him when we get the Doug Pederson Show.
5 o'clock today.
Yeah. So, but I think there's going to be a tremendous amount of improvement there. And then that will help the pass rush because that's important, obviously. I think you've got a lot of question marks in the back end at the corner position. I think the safety position is very strong, but you've got to have these guys up front really being I remember Lawrence Taylor, the famous quote on NFL films, you got to go after them like a bunch of crazed dogs. Okay, well, that's your front guys got to go after them like a bunch of crazed dogs, and they got to have the quarterback's feet moving and got to have those feet nervous. And so Josh Allen needs to get back to being what he can be. Last year, a little banged up. I think he's going to be primed for a big year and a contract year.
Yeah.
There's a lot on the line for him.
If he can do what he did in the last 5 weeks of the regular season, stretch that out. I mean, he was fantastic down the stretch. Got home for sacks, quarterback hits.
How about the Buffalo game?
Yes.
I mean, wow. Yes. I mean, what a game that Josh had against Buffalo. But so he had games like that you were just like, wow. And then he had games where like a couple weeks, you're like, did he get in the stat chart, So, I mean, and I think that consistency there with Josh, also health will, I think, be a factor in that. He got a little banged up last year. Trayvon Walker needs to be able to take a big step forward. You need to have either a Kayvon Chase on or, you've got a couple young players on the outside. Yasir Abdullah, who was their fifth-round draft pick, is a guy I think is going to have some opportunities. You've got to be able to affect the passer, and these guys up front need to take – here's another guy, Roy Robertson-Harris.
Yeah, he just signed another deal. So,
okay.
yeah.
You sign a deal, okay, now you got to produce. And Roy, early in the season last year, was really good. I mean, started out like gangbusters, and then looked like he got dinged a little bit, and then he kind of fell off for a little while, and then he had other games when later in the season he came back, and he was just dominant. You need to have Roy kind of back and healthy and playing dominant. Devon Hamilton, who's been a little bit on the sideline, okay, to start camp. Got an extension in the offseason as well, and he's a very good, productive player that was their best interior big-eye pass rusher last year, and I think he probably is going to earn some more reps for this year. Those guys all have to take steps forward. There was no big marquee free agent signing on the defensive side of the ball, and then in the draft, you went offense, the first 3 picks, and then you got the defense, finally in the 4th round. So, I mean, now you've got to have those guys that have been drafted high in previous years start to produce. Devin Lloyd, another guy. I mean, he's got to be able to help the pass rush too. He did that at Utah, some stand-up as a blitzer, and I think you're going to see him do a little bit more of that.
By the way, Roy Robertson-Harris, 3-year extension, $21.6 million reportedly in that extension.
Yeah,
so,
he's worth every penny of that.
Especially down the stretch. He was fantastic. It's Jaguars Happy Hour, 1010XL AM, Jaguars.com, Jaguars social media, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube. Glad you're with us. PRI Productions, the official event production company of the Jags, has everything you need to bring your next idea to life. Visit PRIProductions.com. Well, pass rush helps out the secondary, too, Logs, and we touched a little bit on the secondary. But Tyson Campbell's coming into year 3, and you said just a moment ago, not especially the best overall man coverage group. They really succeeded more out of the zone. Let's touch on Campbell especially. Year 3 for him, had 3 picks last year, was around the football a bit. I think he's improved over time in seeing the ball in the air. That was obviously an issue early in his career, his first year. He would look back, lose the ball, lose the man, and then the guys would score on him.
Big play, yep.
Big play would happen. That's toned down a little bit. I think that's been an improvement he's made. What else have you seen better from Tyson Campbell? I know it's early in camp, 2 days in for him. Kind of tough to see some of those guys, but Campbell's the guy. He's, I think, the number 1 corner on this team.
Well, by far. And he's, I think, a young, still ascending player that's going to continue to get better. He's got great length. He's got good ball skills. He's making strides in that department, JP, that you brought up. You flash back to the game in Washington last year, and he allows a big play because he kind of loses track of a guy. And that's something he's gotten better at. But he, I think, is at his best when he's got his face facing back towards the quarterback. And he's got such tremendous length. He's a very, very aggressive tackler, which is kind of rare from the corner position, and aggressive and good. And
it's one thing to be aggressive. It's another thing to be good and aggressive.
That's
you can
right.
be aggressive and miss everything.
Because so I like him. I think he's he's a true number 1 corner. And then on the opposite side, Darius Williams made some strides last year when early in the year he was in the slot. And then he was moved to the outside. He got a little better on the outside. He still needs to improve some of his tackling to get that up to at a better level. But the big question mark is that, JP, you and I both know that this is a passing league, okay? And no longer is the game played with 2 corners. You need to have 3 and 4 corners. So who's up next? And that's a big question mark.
Darius Williams was on the other side last year. Obviously a veteran guy. He's been around for 31 years old now, I suppose. Hasn't been in the league as long as his age indicates. He had a longer college career than others. And then Trey Herndon would be probably the nickel slot guy right now, right?
Well, and maybe, Chris Claybrooks, is a guy that also is kind of in that equation. He's got some off-the-field issues that – not sure how that's going to be addressed at some point by the league or the team or the legalities of it. I'm not sure there, but
they signed Tavon Campbell, a 5th-year veteran in the league.
He's been around for a while, Canadian guy. And look, this is a position that has been addressed not necessarily with the high draft equity, but it's been addressed in numbers. You look at last year and you had Monteric Brown and Gregory Jr., who were late draft picks. And then you turn around this year and you've got Eric Hallett in the 6th round out of Pittsburgh and Christian Broswell in the 6th round out of Rutgers. So, I mean, Trent Baalke has definitely got a pattern here and that he knows that he needs to address the position. And so he 6th round, I mean, the percentage of hitting in the 6th round is obviously just significantly less than it is in round 2 and 3 and 4. But you got to keep trying to get guys at that position, and hopefully one of these guys develops, or one of the rookies, undrafted guys, whether it be a Caleb Hayes or whoever, but you're addressing it right now with numbers. But I think it's a position that you want to see big time improvement. The reality is, though, that look, you can address every position in one off season. There are years that the reality is okay, next year might be the year of the day drafted corner higher in the draft.
Let's put a Band-Aid on it for this year and then fix it, when we can.
Well, and look, this team is not going to just finish camp up and go to 53 with what they've got on this current roster of 90. You're going to be evaluating what every team in the league does, who may become available, and that's a premium position. It's hard to get a top-notch guy, but it's there's a possibility that you can get capable people there. And could you go a veteran route? Could you maybe work a trade for somebody at that position? Everything, I think, is on the table for that position. But, the most important thing is trying to have somebody develop and step up at that position from within.
Jaguars Happy Hour is brought to you by the St. Johns River Water Management District. Florida's water, it's worth saving. And when we return, left tackle Cam Robinson is practicing. But what's the plan as we move toward his 4-game suspension? This is Jaguars Happy Hour.
Have you noticed? It's raining a lot in our area lately. That means you can give your sprinklers a break and save some money in the process. Lawns only need water up to twice a week, and that can come from rain. So before you run your sprinklers, remember to watch the weather and wait to water. For more information, visit waterlessflorida.com.
Are you suffering from shoulder pain? If you have clicking and popping in the shoulder joint, persistent pain that intensifies with use, an inability to lift your arm over your head, or a tingling, burning sensation in the shoulder, elbow, or wrist, waiting to see a doctor could make your injury worse. Baptist Health and Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute have innovative and effective treatment options available right now to relieve your pain and restore your mobility. Don't wait. Call 904-JOI-2000.
Frank Frangie here. When you want barbecue in Jacksonville, you want Bono's Pit Barbecue. You can find Bono's locations all around town and on game day at TIAA Bank Field because Bono's is the official barbecue of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Bono's is currently expanding its brand with franchise opportunities throughout the Southeast and beyond. Over 70 years of authentic Southern pit barbecue and owning your own business are a great combo. Go to bonosbarbq.com to learn more or call 904-880-8310 today. And remember, if you don't see a pit, it ain't legit.
Hello, I'm Dan Fields. If you're in the market for a full-size 8-passenger SUV, look no further than the Defender 130. And with the Defender 90, the 110, and this 130, there's luxury in the right size for everyone. Right, Sammy?
Plus, when you buy or lease from Land Rover Jacksonville, you'll become a member of the Fields Amenities Program with complimentary loaners, car washes, our cafe, and much more, all at no charge.
America, it's time to gear up and get out there in a new Ford vehicle. And it all starts at your local Ford dealer during the Discover Summer Sales Event. Choose from a great selection of Ford trucks and SUVs equipped with the tech and comfort you need to discover your best summer ever. With a large inventory in stock, now is the best time to trade in, trade up, and discover summer with Ford. This is your time to discover summer at your local Ford dealer.
Jaguars fans, you have the opportunity to win a VIP experience at a Jaguars training camp practice, courtesy of Goodwill Industries of North Florida as part of their Pass It On for Goodwill donation program. To learn more, visit goodwilljacks.org or go to the Goodwill Jacksonville locations at 11160 Beach Boulevard or 9910 San Jose Boulevard for more information. That's goodwilljacks.org. All of your donations are invested back into education and employment opportunities for hundreds of individuals.
Jaguars Happy Hour is brought to you by the St. Johns River Water Management District. Florida's water, it's worth saving. JP Shadrick, Jeff Lageman. We are on 1010XL AM, 92.5 FM as well. Jaguars.com, Jaguars social media, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube. And if you're watching us there, you're getting a live look inside the Miller Electric Center in the Hyundai Studios.
Not a big look.
We're in high definition.
Which I don't know if that's a good thing or not.
That was the worst invention ever for a guy like me.
Yeah. I totally agree. I'm in the same category, JB, of Face for Radio.
That's right. It's what it is, though, but it's awesome. We've got this new studio. There's going to be another studio coming online very soon. Everybody's working behind the scenes to make that thing really sing. So we have a lot of new different looks on television and radio shows. Well, sounds on radio shows, but looks on television and digital shows. You know what I mean? And
also just a huge shout out to the guys that all worked in some capacity here at the Miller Electric Center, because, I mean, the number of people is vast. And also there's a ton of guys that have been working from the Jaguars organization that have been working on this project in a tireless fashion. You know, Hamza and Jeff, I mean, all those guys. And then everybody from every department was working late hours to make sure that everything was just right in their departments, department leaders, et cetera. I mean, it's an ongoing process. I mean,
not over yet.
It's not over. There's still some kinks and some things that they're working out, but wow, what a facility. And I mean, it's truly amazing. All those years of us going to other places to watch the Jaguars practice the Patriots, the Vikings, the Atlanta Falcons. Yeah. And then when you're looking at all of their facilities, well, here we are, and we're looking at one of the very best in the National Football League right here in Jacksonville.
Pretty awesome, man. Guys like in the IT department, Chris Yider, who's been pulling his hair out for all the football stuff to get done, and then Jason Dean doing a lot of our stuff on the media side, and you're watching some of it if you're watching on Jaguars.com right now, some of the footage inside from the tour the other week. And, it's ongoing, and it's I'm sure they're worn out, but they've done some great work and still some great work to come.
I've seen every component of this building, and it's breathtaking. I think one of the coolest aspects of this building is that on the lower level, that's all basically player function. So from the cafeteria to the locker room to the meeting rooms to the training room, that it's all ground floor. In the meeting rooms, literally every position group has a door that steps out onto the grass, so teams can have positional meetings, and then they go right out the door right to practice. And then off to the one side, the indoor facility and weight room that are connected, just incredible. And the weight room has a second floor balcony that has cardio equipment for the players. And it's cool because, the players can go from locker room, training room, weight room out to the grass and the indoor facility. I mean, it's all right there.
And the coaches are on the second level, up out
right
of the way.
Right above all of it.
Yeah, they're a lot of the coaches are overlooking the field, and then some others are on the interior part of it. There's coaches' meeting rooms on the second floor. It's pretty spectacular. And then that's on one side of the building. This side of the building that we're on is the dining area, and the media and everything that happens up here is on the side closest to the stadium.
The number one difference between the new facility here, the Miller Electric Center, and then the old part of the area where the Jaguars were at in the stadium, is that there's now daylight.
Oh yeah, the big windows.
Yeah, there's daylight, and there's no shortage of it, and it's a beautiful thing to see compared to the old stadium, which you kind of went into this dungeon, bat cave, whatever you want to call it, and you didn't see light. I mean, the vitamin D deficiency amongst Jaguar staff over the last X number of years has been great.
You're watching a time-lapse video of the construction on Jaguars.com, starting from when they broke ground all the way to when they opened the thing just the other day, and it's pretty spectacular to see. And yes, as you said, Logs, a lot of hard work going into it even to this moment.
And the area in which the fans have been enjoying practice in the stands, they've got bleachers that have shade starting completely, almost the entire bleachers starting right about the time that practice starts, and the shade continues throughout the afternoon, and then the seats are really nice, and it's elevated obviously in a grandstand type fashion, and then you have these fans, and I think I know the name of them.
What are they?
I can't say it on the radio.
Why not?
It's a big rear end fan up above.
Well, they can say it. They're promoting them.
Are they?
Yeah, I'm sure they are.
Are they saying the name?
How would you sell them if you
big
wouldn't
ass fans?
Right, perfect.
I mean, that's like the real name of them.
Yeah.
I mean, they're huge, and these things, I mean, are moving some serious air over the tops of the fans, or the heads of the fans, and so really cool. And if I'm a fan, being able to come out, I mean, there's no problem. You're going to enjoy the whole process.
All right, we promised Cam Robinson, and Cam Robinson also spoke with some of the media folks today. You'll see some quotes from him coming out, if not already, on social media, but in some articles tonight or tomorrow morning. Well, he is practicing. He has suspended 4 games at the start of the regular season. He told the media today that it was January when he had not started his recovery yet, when he took something that he didn't realize, and he took full responsibility for it and has to be better at knowing what's going in his body. He took the whole thing today. That's the first time he's spoken, at least publicly. I think he put out a statement or something when the suspension came out, but this is the first time actually on the record in front of others talking about it. But he's out there. He's working. So he's not going to be out there and working the first month of the season, though. Plan B is...
How many games is it
4.
again? It's 4 games.
4 games. So
and look, some people may end up taking this maybe in the wrong way, but if they do, I don't care. The players are willing to always push the boundaries of high performance. Okay, I was no different. I mean, you want to make sure that you're trying to make your body the best that it can be. You want your body to recover in the best fashion that it possibly can. You're always looking for an edge. You're not looking for an illegal edge, but you're looking for an edge, and sometimes players can make a mistake by taking something that they feel is going to give them an edge, and then after the fact they realize that it was something that wasn't allowable. Okay, that happens. But that's what happens in the pursuit of greatness and making your body as good as it possibly can. Cam Robinson is as good of a person as you'll ever find. Okay, and these things can happen. And Cam Robinson is going to end up being a better person for going through this, and he's going to learn his lesson, and he's going to be fine. The Jaguars, I think, are in a great position to be able to handle this situation with Cam Robinson because you have a first-round draft pick tackle. You also have the development of Walker Little last year that happened, and every game he got better. I mean, there was no concern last year going to Kansas City with Walker Little as your left tackle. None. Okay, and then now you've added Josh Wells to the mix as well.
True.
Who is a proven veteran. He's obviously started in Jacksonville, was in Tampa for many years, got some starts under his belt. He's bigger than ever. He's got experience. How many teams in the National Football League would be as comfortable as the Jaguars by losing a starting left tackle for the first 4 games of the season?
I mean, there aren't many. I mean, there's
very few.
There are very few that are comfortable in their starting 2 tackles.
If
right?
any.
Yeah.
I mean,
credit
to Trent Baalke and his staff for getting the quality of players at that position because that's a premium position. Walker Little, I think, is going to handle it just fine. I know that Doug Pederson talked about handling that process, knowing that Cam Robinson is not going to be available for the first 4 games and how that will work.
They've both got to get work in training camp, but at some point you got to know who's out there week 1.
And which is going to be Walker Little. And, so it's good to watch him work. And, the one thing that I've kind of noticed in the first couple practices, because we're only 2 in, is that Cam Robinson has really taken Anton Harrison kind of under his wing and is helping him. You can see that there's a lot of conversation between those two. And that's what you want to see. I mean, you always want to have great coaching, and the Jaguars have one of the best offensive line coaches in football in Phil Rauscher, but you like to have that veteran mentorship, just much like Calais Campbell and Josh Allen
a
few years ago. And we watched that, and we were like, man, that's a thing of beauty. Well, I'm seeing that now with Cam Robinson and Anton Harrison, and it's good to watch because you can always, listen to a coach and get better, but then also some peer information of players that have been involved in the game. Cam Robinson, what is this, year 7 for him?
Yeah.
I believe, so I mean, he's a guy that's got experience that he can share those experiences with a young player that's going to be expected to contribute right away and be the starting right tackle, and then down the road, who knows?
If you're looking for the MVP of the truck game, then look no further than Ford F-150, loaded with impressive capability and designed to dominate work, play, and everything in between. This truck makes tough look easy. Your local Ford dealer, proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. We're on 1010XL 92.5 FM, Jaguars.com, Jaguars social media. It's Jaguars Happy Hour, brought to you by the St. Johns River Water Management District. Florida's water, it's worth saving. The injury report, and much more after this. It's Jaguars Happy Hour.
Have you noticed? It's raining a lot in our area lately. That means you can give your sprinklers a break and save some money in the process. Lawns only need water up to twice a week, and that can come from rain. So before you run your sprinklers, remember to watch the weather and wait to water. For more information, visit waterlessflorida.com.
As the official supermarket of the Jacksonville Jaguars, Publix is helping fans gear up for game day with the limited-time Jaguars sub. Piled high with hot deli chicken tenders, boar's head bacon, cheddar cheese, coleslaw, and barbecue mayonnaise on a white sub roll. The Jaguars sub is an easy, delicious meal for any fan. Make it an ultimate game day by ordering the Jaguars sub online for in-store pickup. Publix, where shopping is a pleasure.
Hey Jags fans, Renewal by Andersen is a proud partner with your favorite team, and they bring that same commitment to excellence to your home's windows and doors. With their advanced Fibrex material and energy-efficient glass options, their windows and doors are the perfect choice for your next home improvement project. Let them help you bring more light and life into your home. Schedule a complimentary consultation today. Renewal by Andersen, the official window and door replacement partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. License number CGC 1527613.
Jaguars fans, you have the opportunity to win a VIP experience at a Jaguars training camp practice, courtesy of Goodwill Industries of North Florida as part of their Pass It On for Goodwill donation program. To learn more, visit goodwilljacks.org or go to the Goodwill Jacksonville locations at 11160 Beach Boulevard or 9910 San Jose Boulevard for more information. That's goodwilljacks.org. All of your donations are invested back into education and employment opportunities for hundreds of individuals. Hey Jags fans, stop dreaming of creating your game day fan cave and build the Jaguars den of your dreams with Zip Chair. When it comes to maximum comfort, ZipChair.com is the only place for officially licensed Jaguars recliners, sofas, bar stools, office and gaming chairs, all featuring high quality embroidered Jags logos. Crack open a few cold ones in the comfort of a Zip Chair and make your home the place to be on game day. Head over to ZipChair.com and save 20% today. Use code JagsRadio at checkout. ZipChair.com, furniture for fans.
America, it's time to gear up and get out there in a new Ford vehicle. And it all starts at your local Ford dealer during the Discover Summer Sales Event. Choose from a great selection of Ford trucks and SUVs equipped with the tech and comfort you need to discover your best summer ever. With a large inventory in stock, now is the best time to trade in, trade up, and discover summer with Ford. This is your time to discover summer at your local Ford dealer.
Jaguars Happy Hour is brought to you by the St. Johns River Water Management District. Florida's water, it's worth saving. JP Shadrick, Jeff Lageman on 1010XL, 92.5 FM. Our first show of the 2023 season, officially, today.
And hopefully it's a season of great moments like last year. And even greater.
I was going to say, it's going to be hard to top some of the moments from last season, but the achievements could be better.
Yeah,
that's the whole goal.
You're chasing one prize. 32 teams are all chasing one prize, and everybody's starting at the same level, kind of. I mean, not really at the same level.
They're all 0-0.
They're all 0-0, but they're all not starting at the same level.
That's right.
Okay.
Don't we know? We've been on the bottom end of that for a long time.
We've had many years where we sat there and go, you think we got a chance? And like, well, we ain't got a quarterback yet, so I don't know if we can go anywhere yet, but you got a quarterback now, and you got an offense that I really believe that is just brimming with talent. I mean, really is. I mean, the offense as a whole is brimming with talent. I think the big question mark is going to be this defense, and how they can come along and how much progress can they make, how much development will we see with some of the players and coaches on that side of the ball. That's the big question mark.
Well, another thing that helped them last year was overall, at least, general health of the football team. They were pretty healthy. That leads us into the injury report presented by Baptist Health and the Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute, the official sports medicine provider of the Jacksonville Jaguars. 2 players officially on the physically unable to perform list, the active PUP and the training camp time. So you can go on and off whenever you're ready. Ben Barch, who, of course, was injured last year, is on there and off to the side. DeJuan Smoot, coming off the Achilles injury, just recently signed. He's off to the side. Also off to the side, but not listed on anything, Ventrell Miller was off today, and Devon Hamilton was doing some work, it looked like, on the side as well. Those are, at least early in camp, the 4. And the 2 official ones are the PUP guys.
Yeah, and look, I'm glad to see Smoot re-signed. A guy that I like the way he plays the game. He's always full go. He's versatile. He can play multiple positions. He can play outside linebacker. He can have his hand in the ground as the defensive end. But he's going to need some time. I mean, an Achilles injury is a serious injury.
Well, we saw what happened with James Robinson, right? I mean, it took him some time to even get close to right. That was the training camp, last year, right? No, 2 years ago. When was that? Last year.
It was last year.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
Time flies.
Yeah, it does.
But same idea, right? I mean, this was in December. It was Christmas week.
Yeah,
it was a Thursday night game.
Real late in the season. I mean, just much like J-Rob. Yeah. And Ben Barch had a knee and that ended his season last year. Leaves, and that, just by the way, led to the great performance last year of Tyler Shatley at the left guard position, who is back once again, Shatley. But will Ben Barch be the starting left guard this year? Yeah, I mean that's a big question mark. Will Barch compete with Shatley? How will that go? How will that look? When will Barch be available? Nobody really knows.
Yeah, and it also goes back to the left tackle discussion too, right? 4 weeks of Walker Little at left tackle. What happens when Cam is eligible to come back?
Right. Could one of them go to left guard?
Who knows?
I mean, yeah, you don't really know. And and the coaches, I'm sure, have kind of a plan in mind based on their evaluation of each skill set of the players that they have. And that's going to be very important, and I think they've got a process and a plan in place, and we're not privy to the details of that. And those plans can change at any moment based on injury or whatever. So that's something that is going to be let's keep an eye on it and see what happens. But that's one of the big one of the few question marks on offense right now. I mean, really, there really are no other question marks. I mean, there's always things that arise. Okay, injuries, concerns, whatever. With the suspension of Cam, that's obviously something that we know is going to be dealt with. But really, other than the left guard spot, which I don't even really call that a question, because if Barch is not available, you pick up where you left off with Shatley at left guard.
You got guys.
But, I mean, if you're trying to force a question on the offense, is that not the only one?
That's the only one.
That and how they will work the whole tackle thing out with the suspension at the first part of the season.
If those are the only question marks you got, you're in a pretty good spot.
That might be the fewest question marks it's definitely the fewest questions of an offense in the AFC South. It might be one of the fewest question marks of an offense of any in the AFC as a whole.
Chiefs, how many question marks do they have?
They got two new tackles.
Okay, there's a couple.
I mean, there's one right there. And who's going to play wide receiver? They lost their leading receiver in Juju Smith-Schuster.
Big, yeah.
Okay, lost another one that went to the Jets, I believe. So, I mean, they have a question marks there.
Question marks. All right, Bills. Questions you got there?
Number one is, can they run the ball effectively late in the season? The question mark with their wide receiver, having left camp or supposedly wasn't excused, and is that all blown over? Can Josh Allen take the step? Can the Buffalo Bills take the next step? I'm not real familiar with their changes of personnel off the top of my head, but I mean, if you look at some of the great teams in the AFC, the Cincinnati Bengals might have the fewest question marks on offense.
I was going to say them next. Yeah, that makes sense.
They added the tackle Brown from the Kansas City Chiefs, and now they're going to be moving their Alabama guy that was a first-round pick a few years ago over to right tackle and competing over there. But they've got their whole kind of group back. I mean, that might be the fewest question marks of any team in the AFC on the offensive side of the ball.
Well, those are the teams the Jaguars are going to see in the playoffs.
Well, if you're going to go anywhere in the playoffs, I mean, those are the teams that are going to be there. I mean, and those are the teams that have the quarterbacks that are considered elite level. Joe Burrow and then will the Chargers be able to do anything this year? That's a big question.
Signed the quarterback, or extended him.
Yeah, which gives you a little bit of a glimpse into the future of what the Jaguars are going to have to be contending with.
It's a lot of money.
I mean,
a lot of money.
Goodness. I mean, it's
I love they asked Trevor Lawrence the other day, the media did, hey, did you notice the thing? He's like, yeah, I keep up with the league. I saw what was going on with Justin Herbert's contract.
Yeah, you're going to see that. Look,
kind of played it down.
Lamar Jackson's still top of the league in per year average. His new contract pays him, I think, like $52 million a year average, and the new deal, I think, with the Chargers, what's that the quarterback's name again? Justin Herbert. I think the average now is right around 43 because he had 2 years left on his current deal. So if you consider the 2 years left that he has on his current deal, his average is around 43. And I said this to you today. I said, it's not impossible to believe that at some point that Trevor Million is $1 billion quarterback. I mean, if you think about $50 million being an average now, when he gets his contract, and then as it increases through the years, I mean, you could be looking at a contract that's $750. He could end up being worth $750 million to $1 billion as a quarterback. I mean, wow.
Yeah.
But, I mean, that's reality. That's reality.
Better get him done quick. It's only going to go up.
Well, just like with Justin Herbert, right? You got him done before the deal expired. Mm-hmm. With Lamar Jackson, you didn't get it done before the deal expired, and they saved money in the past couple years because he was paid well below market value the last couple years.
Now, I think there would be some in the building that would say, all right, let's tap the brakes. Can we play the season first and then get to that?
No, I know. I'm just thinking out loud here. I mean, because, look, I mean, that's the reality.
The way you build it is because of that guy, and everything you do is because of that guy.
No doubt.
Financially.
No doubt. And, look, I'm a big fan of Trevor, and I'm looking forward to watching him perform. And obviously he's not thinking about that, but he's keeping track of the news in the National Football League.
Why wouldn't you?
I mean, if
it pops up on your phone all the time.
There's a couple other guys in the league that are going to be worth watching here coming up. Nick Bosa, is he not withholding his services from the 49ers? Chris Jones, there's another issue with the Kansas City Chiefs. Yeah. These guys are looking for $30 million a year contracts.
What do you want to hear from Doug Pederson coming up on the first Doug Pederson show of the year?
Well, just the excitement of starting a camp again, the new facility, the excitement with his offense. A big question mark with his defense. What does he think about the offseason evaluation? Where does he see that defense progressing towards?
That's all coming up in mere moments. The first Doug Pederson show of the 2023 campaign is right around the corner. We'll hear from the head coach about 10 minutes into the show or so. So stick around there on the Jaguars Radio Network. That'll do it for Jaguars Happy Hour today, and training camp is underway. Practice number 3 coming up Friday. Thank you for listening to Jaguars Happy Hour.
Doug Pederson Show starts JP
right
Shadrick
now.
and former Jaguar Jeff Lageman discuss the latest Jaguars news with the head coach. The Doug Pederson Show starts right now.
Welcome in. It is the first Doug Pederson Show of the 2023 season here on the Jaguars Radio Network. Glad you're along with us. JP Shadrick, Jeff Lageman. We're about 10 minutes away from head coach Doug Pederson inside the Hyundai studio, inside the Miller Electric Center, the cocoon inside the cocoon, if you will, for Jaguars Radio and Jaguars Media. Good to see you, Logs.
Good
Happy
to be
New
seen.
Year.
Good to be seen. Happy New Year.
Yeah.
Happy
season.
Happy football New Year.
Yes, that.
Yeah. It's
We'll
that time of year.
It is. Training camp is here. Jaguars are 2 practices in. They're on the field again Friday and Saturday, day off Sunday, and then the first day in full pads is coming up Monday. That's when you'll see a lot of the big work in the trenches start to develop, and that'll take a little time of its own. But, hey, 2 days in, Trevor Lawrence, the offense, that's what a lot of eyes are turning to. The first day especially, Calvin Ridley really showed out. Day 2, some drops from some receivers, not as crisp, but to be expected. But that first day out on Wednesday, Trevor Lawrence to Calvin Ridley, look out.
Yeah, and it was constant. It was exciting, and then watching what Calvin Ridley was doing kind of after the catch, a little bit of the movements that he had was fun to watch.
He's different.
And then today, the offense starts out. You got a one-on-one opportunity with Travis Etienne, kind of on a little quick out and go, and Josh Allen's trying to cover, and that's what you call a mismatch. Okay,
yeah, sure.
And Trevor throws it in there perfectly to Travis, and he's off to the races. I mean, those are the things that you love to see with this offense. And then, on the defensive side of things, you're like, hey, wait a minute now. We don't want to see too much of that.
On the defensive side, though, I mean, they're out there too, and there's not a lot of new personnel, at least front-line personnel. A lot of the guys that they've invested in the last couple of years, draft equity, free agent dollars, they're counting on those guys to step up, and it's early in camp, but there's a lot of camp to go.
Well, I think on the defensive side of the ball, there's the obvious ones that you want to see take that next step, from Muma to Devin Lloyd to Trayvon Walker. And then in the back end, you're hoping somebody can really rise up and show themselves as a viable third, maybe a fourth corner. And I think that the defensive coaches are going to get a little creative, maybe even with the safety position to get more safeties on the field, maybe with the corner situation is what it is. But you want to see the development from within, because right now that's really the only development and improvement that's going to happen is from within, because there is no help on the way at this point of the season. You are pretty much going to be stuck with what you've got, which is not a bad thing. You can improve your team slightly maybe with some other cast-offs from teams as the cuts are made or maybe trade. But this football team needs to improve not only from a personnel standpoint, but I think the coaching staff is going to be able to take some great strides as well in their second year.
Yeah, second year. There's only a couple of new faces on the coaching staff this year. Most of the guys stuck around. There was a very minor turnover, but they've got a baseline of what they put on tape last year. The base offense, let's start on that side of the ball, is in. Trevor Lawrence and all the weapons and the coaching staff and the play caller can build upon that. So it's a step in another direction for this offense to just build upon what they did a year ago.
Well, and it's much like, if you're in college, you're in high school. You start out with basic math, you work to algebra, and then it goes to calculus, et cetera. I mean,
I was told there would be no math.
Just like, when you go to college, you have, 100 level classes, and they go up to 500 and 600, 700 level classes, So, this offense and Trevor Lawrence, they're now advancing to these classes that are higher level, which allows them to learn more about some of the flexibilities of the offense. It gives them the ability to maybe change plays. It gives them the ability to maybe change some routes on a play in game. So it's going to put more pressure on defenses this year than it did last year because the quarterback will have that flexibility from Doug Pederson, Press Taylor, and the offense as a whole.
And I'm sure at some point, may not come even this year, there'll be a point where Trevor just kind of runs it, right? I mean, he's not just maybe calling plays, but like a practice. Like out here, there's a point where Peyton was just like running things.
Right. Well, and
may not be there yet.
And one of the areas I think you'll see significant improvement is no huddle, 2-minute drill. Okay, now Trevor knows the offense. He knows the plays. He can probably call plays at the line of scrimmage without even thinking twice now compared to last year. Whereas last year he's still trying to learn it. And so these things are kind of the natural progression if you have a smart quarterback, and Trevor's a smart young man, and he's going to be able to make significant advances this year just because of his familiarity with the offense and the offseason work that he put in. And he's a dedicated player. He works hard. And so I'm looking forward to watching that. But the improvement's going to come from that, but it's also going to become very apparent that the personnel on the offensive side of the ball has been improved. You've added draft picks that I think they're going to be immediate contributors. I think Anton Harris is going to be a starter right away, making sure there's no injury there at right tackle. Tank Bigsby is going to be a contributor right away as a running back. And then you've got the tight end, Brenton Strange, I think is going to be the number 2 tight end with this offense, Evan Ingram being the number 1. But Strange is a great space blocker. I think Doug Pederson and the offensive staff are going to have an absolute ball. I know a lot of people aren't talking about him, but Brenton Strange has some abilities that are going to make this offense have a physical element to it, but a physical element to it while being in a spread formation.
Yeah.
And that's going to be special. And so now all of a sudden you've got 3 wide receivers that you love with Kirk and Zay Jones and Calvin Ridley. Christian Kirk is going to be, I think, more comfortable than ever because he can really play in that 3 wide receiver set in that slot position. So it's going to be fun to watch how these coaches have all these different components and are going to end up working them in a game, and how those game plans will look, because they're going to have some defensive coordinators on their heels not knowing exactly how they're going to play the game.
And coming up in just a little bit here on the Doug Pederson Show, we'll hear from Christian Kirk and get his thoughts on, there's one football. There's all these playmakers. What is the answer when they walk in every day? We'll get the answer of the answer coming up from Christian Kirk. I caught up with him a little earlier this week. When we return, though, head coach Doug Pederson joining us in the Hyundai Studios for the first time in the 2023 season. We are off and running in training camp at the Miller Electric Center. It's the Doug Pederson Show on the Jaguars Radio Network.
A solid plan. It's the first step to accomplishing any goal. There's no limit to what's possible when you have the right team by your side. So start building your legacy today. Take advantage of high-yield savings solutions with money market, online savings, CDs, and more. Visit TIAABank.com today. It's time for a plan. TIAA Bank, member FDIC, and the official bank of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
America, it's time to gear up and get out there in a new Ford vehicle. And it all starts at your local Ford dealer during the Discover Summer Sales Event. Choose from a great selection of Ford trucks and SUVs equipped with the tech and comfort you need to discover your best summer ever. With a large inventory in stock, now is the best time to trade in, trade up, and discover summer with Ford. This is your time to discover summer at your local Ford dealer.
Are you suffering from shoulder pain? If you have clicking and popping in the shoulder joint, persistent pain that intensifies with use, an inability to lift your arm over your head, or a tingling, burning sensation in the shoulder, elbow, or wrist. Waiting to see a doctor could make your injury worse. Baptist Health and Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute have innovative and effective treatment options available right now to relieve your pain and restore your mobility. Don't wait. Call 904-JOI-2000.
Jaguars fans are gearing up and saving big at Fanatics.com. The world's largest collection of officially licensed fan gear from all the leagues, teams, and Jaguars players you love. Shop the most trusted brands, exclusive designs by Fanatics, and autographed collectibles from today's biggest stars. Join Fanatics Rewards today and earn fan cash on every purchase. Shop now and get today's special offer. Fanatics.com. Officially licensed everything.
Welcome back. The Doug Pederson Show continues right now.
Welcome back to the Doug Pederson Show from the Hyundai Studios at the Miller Electric Center. JP Shadrick, Jeff Lageman, and Jaguars head coach Doug Pederson. Another training camp, different facility, but training camp all the same. Good to see you, Coach.
Hey, good to see you guys. Yeah, this is beautiful. Got a great studio right here. We're excited to be in this building, the Miller Electric Center. Been a lot of hard work, behind the scenes, obviously getting this building ready to go, but we're excited, and players are excited, and training camp's off and running.
It's amazing how everything in this building just flows towards football, and which is what it should be. I mean, it's amazing that there's no amenity that you don't have for your football team right now. Exactly, and I think one of the things that I'm most appreciative of is how well this building is laid out for the players, and it's everything's on the first floor for them. They can get to the classrooms, they can get to the team dining, they can get to the auditorium, the weight room. Everything is right there. They're kind of centrally located in our building, and as you mentioned, there's every amenity that they want in this building. It free flows, a lot of sunlight upstairs for the coaches, which is a good thing to have, and we're just excited to be in it. You mean you didn't like the Bat Cave of the old? that was rough. My first few weeks over in the stadium was something to get used to. Not being able to have a window and looking outside. I just sat last week before camp started, just watching it rain. And that's you take things for granted sometimes.
The ramp-up schedule early in training camp, this is the first week of that. So each day you can kind of build up towards it. How challenging is that from a coaching perspective? You want to get them going faster, but the CBA has that in place for a reason. Full pads go on early next week. Yeah,
you do things for a reason. And, guys just show up on Tuesday and they report, but they're traveling from all over the country. They've been flying or driving, and some of the guys might have got here early. So I do appreciate the ramp-in phase just a little bit, and then I can progress the practices from an hour and 10 to an hour and 30 a couple days. And, tomorrow will be a day where we can put the spider or the shells, underneath the jerseys tomorrow and still stay in helmets for a couple of days. But it's a progression, and, the conditioning after practice, just trying to get their football legs and trying to get them in shape the best we can from a football perspective. So, the acclimation, it's a little slow from a football side, but it's really good for them physically as we prepare for pads. Yeah, I love the acclimation period. I'm not this grumpy old ex-player that says, they should go right into 2 days. I mean, it's smart. I mean, with today's athlete, especially the investment that you guys have in these football players where their bodies are essentially high-performance engines, I mean, it just makes sense. It does. And being able to utilize, the two fields that we have and the classrooms and the meeting rooms, all part of acclimate, getting them back acclimated to football in the meetings. But more importantly, we can continue each day to sort of introduce new things, ramp up a little bit. Again, it's all leading up, to the first day of pads next week. And the guys appreciate that. One of the things that you can really analyze now, even though you're not in pads, is that 7-on-7 aspect of football, which is the passing game. And first impressions that I saw was your quarterback looks a little bit bigger than what he finished last year at. Is that something that you noticed? Is that something that was intentional? I think it's something that everybody sees. I think, too, it's coming with age, with maturity with him. His body's growing. He's still young, but that's everybody develops a little bit differently in their stage of life. And I think he's at that point now where we're going to see a little bit of, weight come on, with Trevor a little bit. But he's throwing the ball extremely well. He's strong. Love his demeanor around the team, his leadership ability around the team, and really kind of picked up where he left off at the end of the year, and that's encouraging not only to us, but I think to the guys in that locker room.
And Press Taylor talked about this earlier today as well, having a baseline to work from on offense. Going into year 2 now, you're not installing the entire playbook again. You can just kind of start from where you finished, and that's a huge step in the right direction.
It is. Year 2 is big that way, both offensively, defensively, and even on special teams. To be able to pick up and sort of plug our players back in. And it's kind of my messaging to the team the other night was just, guys, we got to understand we got to hit the reset button, and we're starting over, and we're doing things differently from the standpoint of that, and understanding that what we did last year is great, but that's over, and we haven't done anything yet this year. We're 0-0 sitting here, and we must continue to put in the hard work and preparation to prepare for the regular season.
Yeah, hard work preparation is never shorted, but one thing that is new for your football team this year, you have some new components. Calvin Ridley, Brenton Strange, to Tank Bigsby. I mean, these are components of your offense that are going to be new, and quite frankly, I'm excited to watch them play. Yeah, we are too, as a staff, and Calvin brings a level of energy, a level of excitement, enthusiasm in his route running. He's a long strider. He can cover some ground in a hurry, and you can just see the readiness by Calvin. He's so hungry to get back out on the football field from the time that he's missed, and just so appreciative of the opportunity to play football again. And Christian's in a great spot, and Zay, and having Evan back now in training camp and getting him locked up for a few more years is tremendous offensively. And you look at Brenton Strange, you look at Tank, you look at Anton, you look at these guys now as we put them in with that first unit a little bit, just seeing their athleticism, seeing what they can bring, to our offense.
To your point about Calvin, the first practice, if he stands out like that in an NFL practice like this, other players are like, whoa, okay, that's a different level of skill.
It is, and what I like about Calvin, number one, it's his way he approaches every single day. Every day is a new day, but every day is a day to get better. And he appreciates every moment he gets to practice with his teammates, and that's something I think that some guys take for granted until football's taken away from them, and that's what's happened to Calvin. And we're just so excited to get him in the mix and really to see where he can fit and kind of plug and play with our system, and how well he and Christian can work, in tandem together, or he and Zay can work in tandem together with combination routes and all that. But big asset to our offense.
On the defensive side of the ball, I'm sure that you and your staff evaluated that extremely closely, like most staffs do. You postseason analysis. As part of that analysis, what did you find, and where do you want to go with your defense this year?
The biggest thing I think that we came away with is base defense versus sub defense, right? The 5-man looks versus the 4-man looks, and this is a passing league, and being able to get your best players on the football field at any given time, especially the pass rush. I think that's where we can make big strides this offseason, or really going into the training camp is in the pass rush. And that was an area that we studied last year, and even though we're like a 34 base defense on base, we're gonna I think one of the things you're gonna see is a little more four-man fronts. You're gonna see more of the pass rush stuff, because you get in those second long scenarios around the league, and that becomes a high passing situation down and distance for teams, and so being able to do that and combinations of guys, and Trayvon Walker learning how to put different moves together now going into his second year, being able to watch all of his tape from last year and learn from that. Josh Allen comes back, he looks a little bigger, a little thicker, and being able to press the pocket. And I look at with Devon and Roy Fodakasi, I mean, these guys are all guys that can really play the interior spots and play it well. But those are areas that we looked at, even on the back end, with combinations in the secondary, possibly playing more 3 safety, maybe even 3 corner, whoever that might be, and providing more depth, on defense. But those are all areas that we studied a little bit situationally. Got to get better in the red zone, got to get better on third down from a year ago, so we understand that as well.
Doug, thanks for the time. 2 days into training camp, but you didn't have to walk far. Same building, new place, new studio, and we'll look forward to talking to you again on the Doug Pederson Show once the regular season begins. We're going to give you a few weeks off. How about that?
I'd appreciate that. Let us get into this training camp just a little bit. But this is beautiful. Love this building. Again, hats off to Miller Electric and Haskell for the hard work, the men and women that put this thing together for us. So we're excited to be in this building.
That's head coach Doug Pederson. Jags fans want customized Jaguars furniture for your home? Check out zipchair.com and browse all customizable options. ZipChair, furniture for fans. This is the Doug Pederson Show on Jaguars Radio.
Frank Ramsey here. When you want barbecue in Jacksonville, you want Bono's Pit Barbecue. You can find Bono's locations all around town and on game day at TIAA Bank Field because Bono's is the official barbecue of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Bono's is currently expanding its brand with franchise opportunities throughout the Southeast and beyond. Over 70 years of authentic Southern pit barbecue and owning your own business are a great combo. Go to bonosbarbq.com to learn more or call 904-880-8310 today. And remember, if you don't see a pit, it ain't legit.
As the official supermarket of the Jacksonville Jaguars, Publix is helping fans gear up for game day with the limited-time Jaguars sub. Piled high with hot deli chicken tenders, boar's head bacon, cheddar cheese, coleslaw, and barbecue mayonnaise on a white sub roll. The Jaguar sub is an easy, delicious meal for any fan. Make it an ultimate game day by ordering the Jaguar sub online for in-store pickup. Publix, where shopping is a pleasure.
Jaguars fans, you have the opportunity to win a VIP experience at a Jaguars training camp practice, courtesy of Goodwill Industries of North Florida as part of their Pass It On for Goodwill donation program. To learn more, visit goodwilljacks.org or go to the Goodwill Jacksonville locations at 11160 Beach Boulevard or 9910 San Jose Boulevard for more information. That's goodwilljacks.org. All of your donations are invested back into education and employment opportunities for hundreds of individuals.
Your hometown gate now has more ways to save. Introducing My Gate Rewards, a new loyalty program with member-exclusive savings and fuel discounts. Earn points on in-store purchases, take advantage of special offers, and save on products you love. Score free coffee, fountain drinks, pizza, and soft serve with Gates frequent shopper clubs. Then use your points on savings at the pump. Download the My Gate Rewards app in the App Store today or ask a store associate for more information. Go from good to Gate.
Welcome back. The Doug Pederson Show continues right now.
This is the Doug Pederson Show, the first one of the 2023 season on the Jaguars Radio Network. JP Shadrick, Jeff Lageman. Our thanks to head coach Doug Pederson for stopping by on he goes about halfway down the building. That's where his office is. It's a big facility.
You got a good view from his office.
Yeah, he really does, of the practice field and downtown and everything. But coming to our corner of the building here and joining us. And we'll, as we said there, give him a few weeks away to get training camp in the books. The team selected the 53, all that. And we'll talk to him again, at least on this program. You'll hear from him a lot, but you'll hear from him in studio live with us starting week 1 of the regular season. So that's on into September. Well, I mean, between now and then, there's a lot of work to do, obviously. We're only 2 practices in, Logs. This is the ramp-up period. So as Coach just talked about, each day you can expand it by a few minutes. And then as the days go along, you can add shells or spider pads. That's what they're doing tomorrow. And then full pads can go on Monday.
Right. But by the way, spider pads are, I don't even know why they even have them. I mean, all they are is, it's really no benefit. It gives you maybe a little protection if you bump into somebody.
Yeah, give us an explanation of what they are first.
It's like a web. It's like a spider web.
Oh,
so it has different components, or it's not a solid pad on the shoulders. It's literally like a netting that's pad that goes across the drapes across the top of the shoulders.
Got it.
In fact, years ago they used to have those that went under the shoulder pads to give the players a little extra protection of their shoulders. And I don't know, it's totally useless. But And then they go to shoulder pads, I believe, on Saturday.
Maybe Saturday, and then full pads Monday.
And then full pads on Monday. But the contact will be there on Saturday because, I mean, once you get shoulder pads on, then you can go ahead and have, the pass rush offensive lineman versus defensive lineman. Yeah.
You're
which
not
right
going,
now is not happening at all.
Yeah, you're not going low anyway in these kind of practices.
No. You could probably have an NFL practice all the time without pads, in the pants, so to speak, just because of how of a controlled environment it is. Now, if you were working against another team, you'd want to be in full pads. But I think the acclimation period is fantastic. Yeah, I wish the league had a little bit smarter approach years ago. Just would have been being selfish would have helped me out a whole lot, I think, and would have allowed me to go into the season healthier, and a lot of other players that played this game for a very long time, because the reality is, not to reflect on the old days, but the way it used to be, it was first day you had 2 days, and it was 3-hour practices in full pads. And they didn't come off until you had a day off after a game or a practice that wasn't in pads after a preseason game. So it's certainly different, and it's so much better now. It's so much smarter. I'm not one of these guys, these guys aren't tough. No, these guys are tough. These guys are tough as nails today. It's just a much smarter approach on how they ramp up or acclimate the players into the season, into the training.
Well, you had to walk uphill both ways to practice.
In the snow.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, it was rough. Real rough. Junction, no water, the whole deal, right?
Yeah, it's just a smarter approach now. Give an example, JP. I mean, we're looking at this amazing facility, and there's been facilities around the league for a long time. The cafeteria here is incredible with many food options for the players and quality food options for the players. When I was in New York back in the late 80s, they didn't provide any food in the facility after training camp was over with, once you got into the regular season, which is crazy to think of, right?
What did you eat?
For breakfast, if you maybe had a bowl of cereal at home, or you stopped on the way in a deli and got a breakfast sandwich, or maybe McDonald's pancakes.
The hotcakes, come on.
Yeah, the hotcakes, which I like the hotcakes. Okay, I'm a pancake guy. For lunch, we would send the Hampton boys, which were they ran the equipment room,
guys, yeah.
And we'd send them out, and they would go and get deli sandwiches from local delis. There was no eating to win, performance, diet. I mean, there was none of that.
Eating to survive.
It was get whatever you could get.
Right.
So, and then I'll never forget, I mean, that all changed. It changed league-wide when Jimmy Johnson had the success that he had in Dallas, because he was the one that brought that to the NFL, the year-round training, the making sure they're eating great food. I mean, he's a Hall of Famer in my mind, just because of how he changed the NFL and changed the NFL's mindset to what we see today.
Of course, training camp for the next couple of weeks. First preseason game logs is August 12th at the Dallas Cowboys, so travel day the day before that. And then the next week, the Jaguars head to Detroit for joint practices against the Lions for a couple days.
I'm a big fan of that, JP.
Yeah.
And let me just talk about that for a minute, because, when you're in training camp and you're going against your teammates, you're going against the same body type, a guy who has the same tendencies and traits. It's good to practice against another team, and especially the Detroit Lions, who many view as an up-and-coming team and a team that's got some talent.
Could this be a Super Bowl preview?
Well, I mean,
I don't know about that.
I mean, that'd be kind of stretching a little bit, but I mean, it's good to work against other players that have other traits, other techniques, other different body types. You're seeing different schemes. It's a controlled environment. It's a way to get really quality work with your veterans in a practice environment, and then once you get to the games, you're going to protect some of those veterans.
And then week 3 of the preseason, August 26th, the only Jaguars home game of the preseason, the Miami Dolphins come north. And remember, there's no cut downs on the roster this year until after the preseason.
Wow. I mean, that's a dramatic change. For many years you had cut down dates. You have step down in your roster numbers, you go from 90 to 75 and then whatever, and then down to 53 eventually, and now it's going to be one cut. But with the expanded practice squads, it's not as dramatic as it seems, though.
Multiple playmakers, one football. Wide receiver Christian Kirk says what they do when they walk in the door every day to keep everyone grounded. That's coming up next. We'll hear from Christian Kirk on the Doug Pederson Show on the Jaguars Radio Network.
Are you suffering from shoulder pain? If you have clicking and popping in the shoulder joint, persistent pain that intensifies with use, an inability to lift your arm over your head, or a tingling, burning sensation in the shoulder, elbow, or wrist, waiting to see a doctor could make your injury worse. Baptist Health and Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute have innovative and effective treatment options available right now to relieve your pain and restore your mobility. Don't wait. Call 904-JOI-2000.
A solid plan. It's the first step to accomplishing any goal. There's no limit to what's possible when you have the right team by your side. So start building your legacy today with TIAA Bank's Yield Pledge accounts, all of which deliver a yield in the top 5% of competitive accounts nationwide. Visit TIAABank.com today. TIAA Bank is a division of TIAA, FSB, member FDIC, and the official bank of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
America, it's time to gear up and get out there in a new Ford vehicle. And it all starts at your local Ford dealer during the Discover Summer Sales Event. Choose from a great selection of Ford trucks and SUVs equipped with the tech and comfort you need to discover your best summer ever. With a large inventory in stock, now is the best time to trade in, trade up, and discover summer with Ford. This is your time to discover summer at your local Ford dealer.
Jaguars fans are gearing up and saving big at Fanatics.com, the world's largest collection of officially licensed fan gear from all the leagues, teams, and Jaguars players you love. Shop the most trusted brands, exclusive designs by Fanatics, and autographed collectibles from today's biggest stars. Join Fanatics Rewards today and earn fan cash on every purchase. Shop now and get today's special offer. Fanatics.com, officially licensed everything.
Welcome back. The Doug Pederson Show continues right now.
This is the Doug Pederson Show on the Jaguars Radio Network, first one of the 2023 season. JP Shadrick, Jeff Lageman, and earlier this week I had a chance to catch up with Jaguars wide receiver Christian Kirk. That was on Wednesday after the first practice of training camp. There's a lot of confidence around this Jaguars offense. A lot of folks are picking this Jaguars team to go a long way, and I asked Christian Kirk why he's so confident in this 2023 Jaguars team.
I think because of, the type of guys that we have in our group and just the approach day in and day out, spending time with one another off the field, and just the cohesiveness we have as a group, I think will hold us together, and it sets the tone. Everybody's on the same page, when we come out here to be the best group, and that's our standard. And so, when you have guys like that in a group, to be able to push each other, and on days when another guy's not playing to the level of our standard, those guys are going to bring them with, because you're only as good as your worst guy. And so, for us, it's just attacking every day. And, being able to scratch the surface of what we can be last year into this year, I think there's a lot of expectations from us to go out and, perform at a high level.
Going into year 6, how different are you feeling than you were, let's say, year 1, year 2 in the NFL? Now you've been at this for a while.
Way different. I'm a little more chill on day 1, just taking it day by day, not trying to kill myself on the first day because I know it's a long camp, and, just being smart, being efficient, making the plays when they come to me, but also, honestly, this camp, just focusing more on being a leader, being more of a vocal leader, and, just teaching these guys and coaching these guys up to the level of our standard and what we do here, and, pushing ourselves to be the best group in the league. That's our goal right now. So it's definitely a different role. I'm enjoying it, and like I said, just taking it day by day.
Let's start with Ridley.
Yeah.
How different is he now all of a sudden with the route running and the stop-start ability? Everything he brings is just a different gear.
100%. He operates at a different level of movement, as we like to say, but just his explosiveness, and to be able to have that on the outside, to be able to put a guy out there one-on-one and tear apart a defense just adds to the dynamic ability of what we're able to do. Because we have so many different guys that can burn you in different ways, it's gonna be hard for defenses to prepare. But for us, it's just maximizing our ability. But he had a great day today, and I'm excited to see where he goes from here.
But back to the group now as a whole with him in it, and Ingram just signed his deal, so throw him into the mix too. There's one football.
Yeah.
We talked about that a lot last year. You guys handled that pretty well, it felt like. But it's all about the team and the offense moving ahead, just to keep everybody on the same page.
Yeah, we said it last year. It's check your ego in at the door, and that's got to be the key. If you're going to have players like this, it's going to, everybody needs to get their own. And, when that happens, that's how you win football games. One person's not going to win you a football game. There may be times where, one guy's going to get relied on and, he's going to carry us towards that way. But, when we get into the playoffs and we get into the nitty-gritty and adversity starts to strike, we need everybody. So, as a unit, we need to operate that way and just kind of buy into what we're doing and keep our long-term goal in sight.
I don't know how much NFL Network or ESPN you watch or any of the preseason hype shows or any of that, but most of those you watch, the Jaguars are the favorites to win the AFC South. Do you guys buy into that? Do you worry about any of that stuff? Is there added pressure with that being the hunted team instead of the team that's up and coming like you were last year?
Yeah, I think the only apprehension to it is, guys looking into that and listening to that, because last year we weren't even in the conversation. We were still in the conversation as being one of the worst teams in the NFL. And so I remember that feeling. I know all the other guys remember that feeling and, the motivation, the edge that we had to get to the point to where we need to be, and we can't lose that. Doug said it best yesterday in our team meeting. He said, greatness isn't about what you did, it's about what you're going to do. And, we can't listen to the noise. And when we win a couple of games this season, nobody's going to stand up and cheer loud for us. They're going to say that's what they're supposed to do. And so we just got to go out there and, manage expectations and, control our energy and what we do.
I think I could talk to Christian Kirk all day long. The full conversation available on the official Jaguars podcast network. Logs.
He's awesome.
Yeah, I've been at it for a while. Understands his role. Check your ego at the door. Some good quotes in there. And boy, the last one there from Doug Pederson in the team meeting says a lot.
And it was, what did he say? Greatness is not what you've done, but what you're going to do.
That's right.
And that tells me something, that the Jaguars are very fortunate to have a great leader in Doug Pederson, because when you talk about messaging, the messaging has to get through and be heard by the players. Then how many times last year did we hear the players echo the messaging that Doug Pederson was giving to them? And that's what you got to have. That's what leadership is all about. So it starts at the top. Great leadership by Doug. And then when you listen to Christian Kirk talk and about him wanting to be a more vocal leader, he's a natural leader because you just listen to him talk, and he's an excellent talker. But he backs up his eloquence with great performance. That wide receiver group, they've got a new offensive position coach in Chad Hall. I mean, how fortunate is Chad Hall to have a group like this that has the maturity to, as Christian Kirk talked about, check the ego at the door when it comes to game time. And it's about winning, and it doesn't matter about how the individual performs, but how the group performs, and as long as they get that win. That's exactly what coaches strive for. And to hear that conversation, it just reveals so many different things with that one conversation that you had with Christian Kirk. And it just makes you feel good about where this team is and the direction that it's heading. And let me just send out a kudos to Doug Pederson and Trent Baalke, because you go back to last year in the offseason when they take over a football team that had a lot of disarray with a young quarterback that many viewed as being talented. The first thing that they did was surround him with the talent that we're talking about. Christian Kirk, Zay Jones, Evan Ingram. Guys that come to work every day. But it wasn't just the wide receiving group and the tight end group. On the offensive line, you ended up bringing in Brandon Sheriff, leader.
That's right.
Okay, you got to have moments like that and transactions like that in order to change the culture. And so you got to give credit to Balke and Pederson for what they were able to do, and ownership as well, because you know what? It cost a lot of money.
Yeah, because there were a lot of people around the league were scratching their head when that Christian Kirk contract came out.
And people were like, oh, he's overpaid. Well, you know what? He's not. I mean,
No.
if you don't have the support of ownership from a financial standpoint, none of that happens. So, I mean, a lot of revelation, I would say, in that conversation you had.
And we didn't even get into his role in the offense. I think we can get into that a little later in training camp, and we certainly will with Christian. Not the last time we're going to speak with him. When we come back, though, defense, pass rush, where do they find it? What changes on defense will they make moving ahead? It's the Doug Pederson Show on Jaguars Radio.
Your hometown gate now has more ways to save. Introducing My Gate Rewards, a new loyalty program with member-exclusive savings and fuel discounts. Earn points on in-store purchases, take advantage of special offers, and save on products you love. Score free coffee, fountain drinks, pizza, and soft serve with Gates frequent shopper clubs. Then use your points on savings at the pump. Download the My Gate Rewards app in the App Store today or ask a store associate for more information. Go from good to Gate.
Jaguars fans, you have the opportunity to win a VIP experience at a Jaguars training camp practice, courtesy of Goodwill Industries of North Florida as part of their Pass It On for Goodwill donation program. To learn more, visit goodwilljacks.org or go to the Goodwill Jacksonville locations at 11160 Beach Boulevard or 9910 San Jose Boulevard for more information. That's goodwilljacks.org. All of your donations are invested back into education and employment opportunities for hundreds of individuals.
Jaguars fans are gearing up and saving big at Fanatics.com. The world's largest collection of officially licensed fan gear from all the leagues, teams, and Jaguars players you love. Shop the most trusted brands, exclusive designs by Fanatics, and autographed collectibles from today's biggest stars. Join Fanatics Rewards today and earn fan cash on every purchase. Shop now and get today's special offer. Fanatics.com. Officially licensed everything.
Your hometown gate now has more ways to save. Introducing My Gate Rewards, a new loyalty program with member-exclusive savings and fuel discounts. Earn points on in-store purchases, take advantage of special offers, and save on products you love. Score free coffee, fountain drinks, pizza, and soft serve with Gates frequent shopper clubs. Then use your points on savings at the pump. Download the My Gate Rewards app in the App Store today or ask a store associate for more information. Go from good to Gate.
Welcome back. The Doug Pederson Show continues right now.
The first Doug Pederson Show of the 2023 campaign from the Hyundai Studios at the Miller Electric Center. That just sounds good, rolling off the tongue, I must say. It's beautiful new space. Glad you're with us on the Jaguars Radio Network. JP Shadrick with Jeff Lageman.
You know what I'd like to see about the Miller Electric Center?
What's that?
Is the electric bill for that indoor facility.
It's big.
It's got these this big tube that runs around the entire circumference of the field, about halfway up the height of the sides of the building.
Mm-hmm.
And that is the air conditioning vent, and the air conditioning vent is probably wider than this table.
And this table
probably
is
about
6 feet wide?
It's about 7, maybe 8 foot in diameter.
Mm.
This big thing that runs all the way around that blows air out of all these holes. Ooh, buddy. That's a mighty good electric bill.
It's quite an HVAC system.
Yeah, and see, the secret is, JP, is when you watch practice, is to sneak on over there by those open garage doors by that indoor facility when it's blazing hot out and to get a little bit of that cool air coming out.
I'll tell you what, the first thing that the media crew noticed was when we walked out there, practice the first day was on the field nearest the main building, was that sideline is in complete shade all practice long.
Yeah, it's well, unfortunately, the practices in the morning are in complete shade.
Yeah.
Okay, if practices were moved to midday, you would not have complete
Well,
shade.
they
So
aren't right now. That's
appreciate
perfect.
the schedule of a early morning practice.
Thanks, Doug. Appreciate
Yeah.
that. It's very
That's
nice.
right.
It's all about the
Appreciate
media's
him
comfort.
thinking of us.
Media's comfort is priority number one around here. Let me tell you, pass rush, defense, defensive backs, linebacker play, all of the above. 3 levels of defense. What's different looking about this group? Maybe you can't tell yet, but what do you think could be different? Doug touched on it just a little bit earlier. Maybe some more 4-man fronts.
I think we're going to see more 4-man fronts, less, I think, trying to fool the opponent, so to speak, hand in the ground. We saw a little bit more of that towards the end of last season, and I think it's what's needed. It puts players in the best position to pass rush, and once you get into second long and third and long, I mean, occasionally you want to fool somebody, but for the most part, it's about putting the player in the best position to win and not about fooling the quarterback into, okay, who's coming and who's not coming. I think it's going to be really good for Trayvon Walker. I think it's going to be good for Josh Allen. And I think specifically about Trayvon Walker. When you're a rookie, you're thinking so much about responsibility and where I'm supposed to be, and now I'm thinking about, okay, what pass rush move do I want to have? You want to get to the point to where you're just not thinking. Your body and your mind are just reacting. And in order to get to that, you have to have a very clear mind and a very clear objective. And 4-man fronts, when you get into that situation, I think can provide some of that to the mind of a player to allow him to just get after it. I mean, Trayvon Walker, when he gets his head of steam going and he's decisive, he's a handful. I mean, he's as strong and a big of a load as anybody that you can imagine on the defensive side of the ball. I think it will help everybody. It will help the pass rush, the edge guys, the guys that are inside. It will also help the back end because the pass rush will be better.
We'll come back in a moment and look at the schedule ahead for the Jaguars, including Saturday. A lot going on.
Kind of a special day across the league.
It is. That's just ahead. It's the Doug Pederson Show on the Jaguars Radio Network.
A solid plan. It's the first step to accomplishing any goal. There's no limit to what's possible when you have the right team by your side. So start building your legacy today. Take advantage of high-yield saving solutions with money market, online savings, CDs, and more. Visit TIAABank.com today. It's time for a plan. TIAA Bank, member FDIC, and the official bank of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Are you suffering from shoulder pain? If you have clicking and popping in the shoulder joint, persistent pain that intensifies with use, an inability to lift your arm over your head, or a tingling, burning sensation in the shoulder, elbow, or wrist, waiting to see a doctor could make your injury worse. Baptist Health and Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute have innovative and effective treatment options available right now to relieve your pain and restore your mobility. Don't wait. Call 904-JOI-2000.
As the official supermarket of the Jacksonville Jaguars, Publix is helping fans gear up for game day with the limited-time Jaguars sub. Piled high with hot deli chicken tenders, boar's head bacon, cheddar cheese, coleslaw, and barbecue mayonnaise on a white sub roll. The Jaguars sub is an easy, delicious meal for any fan. Make it an ultimate game day by ordering the Jaguars sub online for in-store pickup. Publix, where shopping is a pleasure.
Frank Frangie here. When you want barbecue in Jacksonville, you want Bono's Pit Barbecue. You can find Bono's locations all around town and on game day at TIAA Bank Field because Bono's is the official barbecue of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Bono's is currently expanding its brand with franchise opportunities throughout the Southeast and beyond. Over 70 years of authentic Southern pit barbecue and owning your own business are a great combo. Go to bonosbarbq.com to learn more or call 904-880-8310 today. And remember, if you don't see a pit, it ain't legit.
America, it's time to gear up and get out there in a new Ford vehicle. And it all starts at your local Ford dealer during the Discover Summer Sales Event. Choose from a great selection of Ford trucks and SUVs equipped with the tech and comfort you need to discover your best summer ever. With a large inventory in stock, now is the best time to trade in, trade up, and discover summer with Ford. This is your time to discover summer at your local Ford dealer.
Jaguars fans are gearing up and saving big at Fanatics.com. The world's largest collection of officially licensed fan gear from all the leagues, teams, and Jaguars players you love. Shop the most trusted brands, exclusive designs by Fanatics, and autographed collectibles from today's biggest stars. Join Fanatics Rewards today and earn fan cash on every purchase. Shop now and get today's special offer. Fanatics.com. Officially licensed everything.
Welcome back. The Doug Pederson Show continues right now.
We're back, baby, in the Miller Electric Center from the Hyundai Studios. JP Shadrick, Jeff Lageman, the Doug Pederson Show for the first time in 2023. We heard from the head coach earlier. We appreciate him swinging on this side of the building, and we'll hear from him. We're going to give him a few weeks off. Training camp's kind of a busy time. There's a lot going on.
You think?
Yeah, I know, and we'll get him back week one, getting ready for the opener, and we'll get his thoughts on the Jaguars radio network coming up then. Well, there's a busy schedule ahead, of course, the rest of the week. But Saturday is a special day around the NFL in all training camps. They call it Back Together Saturday, and each team has planned events for Back Together weekend, either Saturday or Sunday, whenever those practices fall for the teams. The Jaguars Logs will, of course, have a morning practice. Miller Electric Center, of course, right here. 200 selected youth football players will be here. And there'll be some surprises for those
don't
players.
say what the surprises are going to be.
Some great surprises, it looks like. I almost let it slip. And then some Jacksonville Jaguars legends will be in attendance as well.
That was a really good save, JP.
You
almost read it off of it, which would have taken the surprise away from Saturday for all of these youth football players.
Sorry, kids. No, it'll be fun. But that is a good crowd expected, obviously, on Saturday. A weekend crowd at training camp is always huge. So a lot going on. I'll host that. There'll be some great Jags legends there. So come check it out. I think I don't know if there's much available, honestly, in terms of space to come. But for the latest training camp information, jaguars.com/training camp, the site to go. And as you said earlier, Logs, it's a perfect setup for fans.
It
you got
really
concessions,
is.
You got the team store, you got the big ass fans, you got everything you want.
I can't believe you're saying that.
Yeah, it's got everything you want.
I wasn't going to say that earlier, but you made me.
You said it first. So,
by the way, there's some other big news today that happened in the National Football League. And one of the reasons why we have not seen our friend this week, Mr. Tony Baselli.
Oh yeah, Tony. Yeah, I forgot about him.
Yeah, I know. You remember that guy?
Oh yeah, that guy. Where's he been?
We've been doing some Hall of Fame things.
Yeah, so he got in the Hall of Fame, and we forgot about him.
But look, I'm a big fan of one guy in particular that's up for the Hall of Fame this year. A big fan, and his name is Tom Coughlin. And I wanted to say congratulations, Tom. He made the cut down to, I believe, 12.
Correct.
In the coaches contributors category. And he's got some very worthy people that are joining him in that 12. But I'm going to be rooting so hard for Tom to get in the Hall of Fame this year because he deserves it.
The other 11 outside of Tom Coughlin: Mike Holmgren, Frank Bucko Kilroy, Robert Kraft, Buddy Parker, Dan Reeves, Art Rooney Jr., Marty Schottenheimer, Mike Shanahan, Clark Shaughnessy, Lloyd Wells, and John Wooten. So congratulations to Tom Coughlin for making the move, at least into the semifinals. And there's a meeting on August 15th to select one for final consideration for the class of 2024.
Which that's a hard decision to make. I mean, it really is. And in the other category, I believe Shannon Sharp, Albert Lewis, Joe Jacoby. There's some really good ones. And one of the guys that I'm a big fan of that's on that player side is Ken Anderson, quarterback of the Cincinnati Bengals. And if you look at his numbers, I mean, even compared him to quarterbacks of today, incredibly impressive. And I'm a little biased because Ken was a longtime coach and that guy that I got to spend a lot of time with. And he's one of my favorite coaches that I've ever had the pleasure of kind of doing a broadcasting job alongside. And I hope he gets in. I really do.
Seniors Committee will meet August 22nd. They may select up to 3 seniors for final consideration as members of the class of 2024, and the expansion of that seniors pool was approved back in 2022 for the classes of 23, 24, and 25. We'll return in a moment with the upcoming schedule for the Jaguars. Training camp is underway. 2 practices in, and this is the Doug Pederson Show on Jaguars Radio.
Jaguars fans, you have the opportunity to win a VIP experience at a Jaguars training camp practice, courtesy of Goodwill Industries of North Florida as part of their Pass It On for Goodwill donation program. To learn more, visit goodwilljacks.org or go to the Goodwill Jacksonville locations at 11160 Beach Boulevard or 9910 San Jose Boulevard for more information. That's goodwilljacks.org. All of your donations are invested back into education and employment opportunities for hundreds of individuals.
Frank Frangie here. When you want barbecue in Jacksonville, you want Bono's Pit Barbecue. You can find Bono's locations all around town and on game day at TIAA Bank Field because Bono's is the official barbecue of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Bono's is currently expanding its brand with franchise opportunities throughout the Southeast and beyond. Over 70 years of authentic Southern pit barbecue and owning your own business are a great combo. Go to bonosbarbq.com to learn more or call 904-880-8310 today. And remember, if you don't see a pit, it ain't legit.
As the official supermarket of the Jacksonville Jaguars, Publix is helping fans gear up for game day with the limited-time Jaguars sub. Piled high with hot deli chicken tenders, boar's head bacon, cheddar cheese, coleslaw, and barbecue mayonnaise on a white sub roll. The Jaguar sub is an easy, delicious meal for any fan. Make it an ultimate game day by ordering the Jaguar sub online for in-store pickup. Publix, where shopping is a pleasure.
Jaguars fans are gearing up and saving big at Fanatics.com, the world's largest collection of officially licensed fan gear from all the leagues, teams, and Jaguars players you love. Shop the most trusted brands, exclusive designs by Fanatics, and autographed collectibles from today's biggest stars. Join Fanatics Rewards today and earn fan cash on every purchase. Shop now and get today's special offer. Fanatics.com, officially licensed everything.
America, it's time to gear up and get out there in a new Ford vehicle. And it all starts at your local Ford dealer during the Discover Summer Sales Event. Choose from a great selection of Ford trucks and SUVs equipped with the tech and comfort you need to discover your best summer ever. With a large inventory in stock, now is the best time to trade in, trade up, and discover summer with Ford. This is your time to discover summer at your local Ford dealer.
Jaguars fans, you have the opportunity to win a VIP experience at a Jaguars training camp practice, courtesy of Goodwill Industries of North Florida as part of their Pass It On for Goodwill donation program. To learn more, visit goodwilljacks.org or go to the Goodwill Jacksonville locations at 11160 Beach Boulevard or 9910 San Jose Boulevard for more information. That's goodwilljacks.org. All of your donations are invested back into education and employment opportunities for hundreds of individuals.
Welcome back. The Doug Pederson Show continues right now.
Final moments of the opening Doug Pederson Show of the 2023 season. JP Shadrick, Jeff Lageman. Our thanks to head coach Doug Pederson joining us earlier in the program. We'll give him a few weeks off. He'll be back with us in week 1 of the regular season. Brent Reber, Max Hockman on the video side today. Joe Fortunato on the audio. Our thanks to Richie Clemens for coming in hot today right before the show to get us going. And hey, training camp's here, 2 practices down. Doug said it earlier, spider pads going on, and it just continues to ramp up. We're looking forward to full pads on Monday for the first time.
Yeah, I mean, looking forward to really every aspect of training camp. And, you know, the one thing you always want to see is for the team to stay healthy in every practice that you get under the belt, and there's not a player hurt you feel good about. And then the work that's going to be happening in the future. You know, I'm looking forward to this football team going up against the Cowboys in the first preseason game, the opportunity to practice against the Detroit Lions. You know, we talked about pass rush and how to improve it. This Detroit Lions football team has a really good offensive line. That's going to be really good work in training camp this year with Taylor Decker and Penei Sewell as the 2 tackles that they have. That's great work. That's the kind of work that you want to get in the preseason. I'm glad that Doug is open to that because I think it's incredibly beneficial to all football teams and players.
And not just that, but the Jaguars' offensive line against that defensive front for Detroit, too, goes the other way.
Yeah, and they've got some good players there on that defensive side of the ball that are very young. And so it's going to be a test, and, Jared Goff will give him a test. Yeah. He's a veteran guy. I mean, those are all things that you want to see in the preseason. And, fingers crossed, everybody stays healthy and comes out of it, intact, and so that this football team can accomplish what they have set in mind.
First things first, 2 more weeks of training camp before we even get to the preseason games. Logs, hey, we got it started. We'll do it again next week.
Happy Football New Year.
Happy Football New Year to you. For our entire crew and Jeff Lageman and head coach Doug Pederson, I'm JP Shadrick. We will catch you next time. It's the Doug Pederson Show on the Jaguars Radio Network.